Yeah,
feeling.
I think what Eloquent Monk was asking was what brought us to do this, and what changed our life. Why do we want to reach out to? And we said sinners, people missing the mark.
Oh, okay.
So,
you
yeah,
think
he
it's
wanted
more
to-
in lines of that, not
Yeah.
not saying, hey,
I think he
this
wanted to
is-
know how we got here, and what we want to, how we want to connect.
See, that's silly
So-
to me. So I'll edit all that out so I don't look silly.
Editing is great power. If I could just have someone edit my life, be like, you don't want to do that, and scratch it out.
Yo.
But I do it in front of others, and there's eyewitness testimony about me, and there was about Jesus. Now, to just give you a quick summary, and testimonies sometimes get long and rambling, and I think what Eloquent was saying, I'm going to call you EM. EM was saying, what brought you to belief in Jesus and that others should know? So for me, just real quickly, a childhood that was pretty normal. Didn't grow up in the church. Had some flirtation with it. My dad was interested in the Bible, very interested. And we had interactions with church, but I wasn't connected. And then got involved in drug use. And I'm not hardcore anything. I don't think I'm hardcore anything. But I am overly curious about everything. So I got involved in that. And that takes you in a pretty bad direction. And you know it. I don't know if you have heard people tell about drug use, but you know exactly what you're doing. When there's a guy laying in the gutter going like, man, I could use some heroin. He's like, this doesn't feel right. Maybe I shouldn't be in this position. They know exactly where they're at. That's my sense. I knew where I was at. Was hoping for some kind of rescue. Heard about Jesus and thought, yeah, that's seems like the rescue everyone's talking about, and agreed that Jesus should be my king, my guide. It took a while for that to take, probably about 3 years that I was in that state of mind, following Jesus, or knowing about Jesus, saying as he would pass by, there's a guy I should follow, pass by metaphorically. And then at one point, a friend was killed in a crash, and it brought me to a funeral service, and it brought me to a connection with the church, and that's when all of a sudden I said, this is the life that I've wanted. It took me from where I was to a kind of a transformation. And I was in. From then on, the church, this new family, this new relationship, this new center of my life, that kind of changed me. So I've been involved in trying to be in ministry. And then you go on this road. Now I'm actually even preaching on Sundays. It's a strange road that God takes you down. No matter where you end up, life is these weird twists and turns, and you're sometimes surprised. Yeah. Some people are good at planning and knew exactly where they were going to end up, and I am not that good at planning.
I don't know.
I'm surprised where I ended up.
I think most people, though, won't admit to planning, even though they try to plan it.
Right.
So you got to almost take what God gives you, in my eyes, of we're not going to have the choices that we want to have, because we have other humans that are, one, going to be sinful. They're going to throw us different temptations, and they're going to want us to veer into their world, not trying to ruin our lives, but trying to have us enjoy what they think is the right way, to enjoy life. Like, they might think drinking or doing drugs is why are you wasting your time? Aren't you bored with that?
Right.
Come on, man, just come out one night, have a drink.
That's the peer pressure that people definitely feel, others' currents drawing them.
And you could take the trail of sinful ways. I would, in my mind, that's how it looks, and that's how I represent it. Or you could take the way of the righteous Lord and, follow the way that Jesus would want you to step. And that's kind of what you've been trying, even though we all still choose some sinful natures.
Right. Because we'll be Black Friday shopping. We might have to elbow some old ladies in the head to get that special.
I mean, yeah,
and it's like sin just sometimes falls on you. When you see that last DVD that you wanted of.
It's got a good deal.
Yeah, it's a good deal. It's only $3.99. It's the new Last Avengers. And you're some little old lady's going for it, and you're like, I'm going to slap her hand.
Yeah,
she's going to pull back.
Well, that's awesome, man. I mean, that's cool that you took bad things that were in your life and just totally taken a trail of leading God and leading others, and showing that you can be almost in a gutter type thought mindset to bring it up to being what you are now. I mean, you got an awesome family, you got a beautiful home.
Yeah,
you got a lot of good things going.
And that's a surprise to me too. The good things are a surprise. Yeah. In some way, I believe that God. Well, people, you don't always get blessed in life, and I have a much better life than I imagine I deserve. And that's part of the thing too. God can pull from ashes, beauty from ashes. And the great thing about God is He gives you more than you deserve, and that's following Jesus. If you want what you deserve in some way, that's not always a good deal. Jesus wants to give you much more than you've earned and give you righteousness where you have sin. He wants to transform everything.
Yeah,
it's a strange,
we don't
strange
deserve
deal.
anything.
That's good.
We deserve death.
Yeah, in some way, the natural world, you look at it and it's like a chicken egg. You watch a chicken, it grows up, you either eat it or let it peck around at the ground, and eventually it dies. And whatever it got, it earned at the end a dead bag of feathers. Whatever that is. It's like, what did you earn, chicken? You were given life, you pecked around at the ground, you did every good chicken thing you could do, and then you died. And someone now is gnawing on your leg. And it's like that natural existence. It's clear that you don't get a prize at the end of your chicken life. Chicken Little. I don't know. I don't want to say anything terrible and hurt your feelings, but you're just going to rot in the ground. There you go. There's some things to chew on.
Yeah. And
we do want you to know us. Yeah, we want you to know us and know who we are. And hopefully you stick around and you'll get to know us.
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to throw something out, kind of. I really don't know why 100% that I was led to Jesus, led to God. And I'm sure Tom probably doesn't know everything that led him there, but that's a good story that probably is pretty detailed to how he got led here. But I grew up in a decent house. I lived very poor. My family was loving. I didn't run the streets or anything. We had dinner at 6-ish or whatever, and I played baseball all my life. I was pretty much really good in my area. I would say a star in my area for baseball, but that was my thing. And then once I got 17, 18, I got with some girl in my area that went to school. I was probably 16, 17, and then ended up, she got pregnant at 17-ish, and her mom was furious about the whole us being together before the pregnancy, but she ended up living with us, and then things happened where we moved out and we started our family, and we were family people, enjoying things going out to eat and doing things whatever families do, enjoy boat rides and things like that. And then eventually we got in this little squirrel about how our relationship just needed more, I guess. But she started having to get a job because I was the one working originally, and then she got a job out in Hershey, and then ended up getting into, you could say, drugs, not the hardcore or anything, just smoking weed and drinking. So it pulled me into that world because I was never into any of that. But then I started to interact with that world as well, and then ended up, she got in a car accident and died by the time my son was 3 years old. It was a week before his 4th birthday. She got in a car accident and died. That put me in this mindset of just zoning out and trying to live every day for my son. Still always thinking about her, crying constantly, just barely being able to perform, but I stayed strong to perform all the time for my kid. And then eventually the grandmother, to make a long story short, because it's already getting too long, to make it short, she was doing some things that I disagreed with, but the court wouldn't do anything about. I fought it, but then got nowhere, so I ended up stopping her from just seeing my son on her visitation days because I thought she was a little crazy. I wouldn't leave things up to God. I would take control at that time, which was wrong. And then I eventually lost my kid because of my stupid ways. At about the age of 8, after being on the run and, stupid things like being chased by all sorts of, it was pretty in-depth, with helicopters and guns and things like that. So being chased all the time, and then eventually losing my kid, I had to go serve time, almost 2 weeks in jail for that. And then I came out and I was still distraught, led a quiet life of just doing my business because I owned a business. So I was just making money, doing my thing, trying to work my way at having my kid again. And then my oldest brother, asked if I wanted to start a gym. I did because I didn't care. I had not much to do. They wouldn't even let me see my kid. But by the time my kid was 9, I started working up more and more. Started a gym, and a cop came in and wanted to be a member at our gym. So I accepted him, but I wouldn't accept his money because in my mind, I wanted to be close to good people and push out all the bad people. So when I met this guy, I wanted him close to me on hopes that it would get me my kid back. And we did become close. He would come back all the time, work out because he was local. So it was like God sent me him to have my kid brought back to me because I deserved him, because I wasn't doing anything bad. I was just doing what I thought was right. So eventually, after years of fighting, years of money, battling, working hard, doing everything I could, stopping the whole everything with weed, alcohol around me, just pushing all that badness out of my life and just concentrating on good, not thinking about God at this point. But then I eventually got my kid back because my good, close brother, I would say now at this point, went in with me and kind of just made it happen through the judge that knew him closely. And I got my kid back by the time he was probably like 11, 12-ish. And then had a daughter. I ended up moving to this place where I'm at now with my daughter and my son. We're living together by the time my daughter was like 2, my son was like 12. And then I met this guy. And this guy was another godsend to my direction to involve me into actually realizing this is all God. To make a long story short, because it's already long and I can't make it short, but I'm gonna try. That is kind of how I got Tom's like close, like family to me, in my mind anyway. And I got my boy, who I don't mention his name, who's in the FBI, pretty high up, who got my kid back. We're like family, clearly. And then I got my real family also, who is like family. Some of them ain't even like family, but I still got everybody. And that's how I am now, full-fledged in faith of Jesus and God. And I've been studying it and constantly following it for years. And I go to church now, and I understand completely because I step back and I think and I see things, and I understand completely how God has taken bad things that I chose to do and still kept giving me choices to try to lead me into the righteous path. I don't have the words that this guy can use. Anyway, that's my testimony. And
that was good. That was a surprise. It was, you don't know what other people's lives are.
Yeah.
Now you've got to peek into them. To me, that was very interesting and a winding road.
Are you going to walk out now?
I'm out. No, I think
this is too deep.
No, I think that's to me, people's, if they're willing to share, people's lives are a mystery, and when you see them, to me, everybody's got a great story, and it's very nice when they're able to share it. So I appreciate your journey.
Yeah,
and it's a long. Journeys are long and hard. They have their ups and downs.
Yeah, but they're awesome in the end.
They are.
As long as you follow the right path.
Right. Yeah, and we want to encourage you to keep listening and interacting because there is something we think is important about how God is took you here, and it will take you as you go on your journey. So write in the comments. We'll and if you want to know more, ask.
Yeah, because we love to talk more.
Yeah. Comments are our thing. We want to be the comment kings.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll pop out a video on things.
On anything, yeah.
Yeah, anything. Do like, subscribe, and if you got more, ask away. Hope you enjoyed.